Welcome everybody for the live energy prayer. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm airing here from Florida. Sorry for the wait, guys. Sometimes there are technical issues. I hope you can all hear me well. Just making sure my internet connection is good enough here this morning for our live prayer session. After this energy prayer, I'm going to do the energy update and energy tips for week 49. That is for the 27th of November till 3rd of December. So if you feel inclined to stay, we have a lot to talk about in regards to these energies that are coming in. And I love seeing you guys tuning in from all over the world, here from Alberta, Canada, from Colorado, from Denmark, again. Yes, it's wonderful. Thanks for the feedback. We're living in times right now where a lot of the things that we are seeing on the outside don't really make sense. And this is part of the reason why we feel the impulse to maybe spiritually connect and do some more inner work. Kind of get these things back together. We have to unify all these things that don't make sense in us. And we talked about this a little bit on Wednesday here, that for some of us, the contextualization with prayer may not feel right because we're not churchgoers, or we're not people who necessarily, some of us are, but we can't really connect with organized religion. I want to assure you guys that from an energetic point of view, that can be a limitation, because the organized religion is one aspect of spirituality that we can obviously freely choose. We can organize ourselves. You can found your own church, if you will. That's not really the point, but the point being is that you have the birthright, to have your own connection with higher power, to have your own relationship with higher power. And that's a very, very important relationship, that when this yearning or when this need comes up to unify something within that feels disconnected, then prayer is something that probably anybody would recommend to you. And not so much because you want to worship. Worship is obviously an element of that. We call this alignment, but mostly to reconnect with yourself first, and align yourself to yourself first, because that self is the one that is actually doing the connection, that is doing the relationship. And as we are aligning ourselves to that, it allows us to connect to these different aspects, these different parts in ourselves. So let's say, you perceive yourself as a human being, obviously, with a physical body, with lots of emotions, with lots of thoughts, and also with something, let's call it a soul. That doesn't really have anything to do with a belief system, but something that goes beyond that goes beyond your physical existence. So when things don't make any sense to us, like what we are experiencing right now, where every value, and I don't think it's actually exaggerated to say every value that we have ever sort of trusted in, that we have been taken for granted, gets reassessed. All right, it's very important that we have this inner relationship intact with ourselves. Higher power is the part that reminds us of the sort of our higher possibilities, our higher expression. But even just a normal expression is the one that is under attack a little bit right now. So my values in regards to family, my values in regards to friends, my values in regards to the place that I live, my values in regards to the overall needs and wants that I have. And if you remember the last couple of weeks, I've asked you to work with this list for yourself, where you create a list of needs and wants and desires or goals in your life, ideals, all right? And that was because, that was important because values are changing so much right now. And I don't have the time to address this today, but I want you to contemplate about that. What ended up on your needs list and what ended up on your wants list. Because with changing outer conditions, with changing values, guys, needs and wants and goals change. All right. And if any one of you has had some major insights here, please feel free to share this in our chat here. All right. The prayer itself, the one that we are going to do together right now, is dedicated, or should be dedicated, toward having more clarity about that. What is it in us that needs to be unified, that needs to be basically sort of put back together in a new way, perhaps? November was all about new perspectives, and I think it's safe to say that many of us have gained a new perspective on a lot of things here throughout these last 4 weeks, continuing. And maybe you have found things that have changed in your life. I have found major things, it's simple things, small things that have changed for me in these last 4 weeks. Yeah, for example, this may seem like a non-brainer to many of you, but not for me. Up until 2 weeks ago, I didn't realize how uncomfortable my bed was, for example. And so I realized when I made this list of needs and wants and goals that sleep was a big part of my needs, but also a big part of what was not going well. I'm not sure if we got disconnected here. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or see me. Yeah, it seems like the internet. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, you can still hear me. Okay. You just can't see me right now. Okay, this is something happened here to the internet. Okay, wonderful. All right, so I'm just going to keep talking until the bandwidth is big enough. The picture is frozen, yes. And the camera here, it's sending, but it's not going through. It's not going through to YouTube right now. So worst case scenario. Sorry, guys. I will have a recording with a picture. Oh, now you can't hear me. Okay. Not sure what to do right now, to be honest with you guys. I don't know how to fix this. I could restart everything, but we would probably lose this streaming key. I need to step away and check the internet real quick. You can still hear me? Okay. Let me step away. I'll be right back. Hey guys, did the internet go off? Okay. Yeah, so everything is rebooting here, guys. I apologize for that. I am not sure what I can do right now I have to start rebooting. Okay, just stay on here. I'll be right back. Oh my God. These are the kind of things, yeah. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So I found out that sleep is one of the things that are really important to me, and yet I have continuous problems. So I decided to buy a new bed, and guess what, guys? It's like a miracle. Small things, okay? Maybe I should put the different internet booster or something here on my list of things to change. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. And this is what I would like to focus on in the prayer with you today, is to be able to see these little things, is to be able to identify exactly what it is that needs to be changed. Yeah. It's very confusing sometimes, and this is why we often don't even feel what the problem is. That's why we are often confused, okay? To really step out of our situation and look at it from that perspective of, wait a minute, hang on. Regardless of what the outer conditions are, regardless of what I'm thinking that I need or what I want, let me just reset the system and let me just look at, like, okay, what are my most fundamental needs? The inevitabilities. What are my desirables, my preferences? Okay, and then what is it that I would like to work toward, the ideal, yeah, or the goal, and to keep that in perspective. For most of you, the perspective change here in November has really been about resetting your perspective, not so much just really looking at it from a different angle, but like removing all the distractions that were there that have produced this overlay. So how can we attune ourselves to being more clear and feeling what we truly need, what we truly want, and what we truly want to work toward? How could we put this into a prayer? Who has suggestions? What would you like to add to the prayer here today that allows you to, well, for one, remove the overlay, which would be the part that is clouding everything, that is confusing and separating you from within, and at the same time also something that makes it easier for you to feel. Yeah, for example, when you're going against your fundamental needs. So I think these are the two things that we should prioritize here for our prayer request: is how can I better feel it, and how can I especially identify when something goes against it. We cannot really make changes, just like in my example here, to whatever is bugging us, or whatever is going against our needs, or whatever makes it difficult for us to feel, if there is too much overlay, if we have the beliefs that say it has to be that way, or I have no other choice. I have no other choice is a very, very common confusion, yeah, that always leads to us having to separate, having to fragment within ourselves. Yeah, because if you think you have to, all right, then you are automatically already filtering it. You're all automatically not allowing yourself something. This one is very hard. Raquel. Yeah, it's very hard because we don't know what we don't know, right? So when we don't know what we don't know, okay, we have to reset. We have to go to the basics, basically from foundation up, okay? So what are the most important values that I have in life? Yeah, like say good food. In my case, I use myself as an example just to jog your memory here a little bit, because I want you to come up with the way how you want to address this in this prayer. For me personally, it's very clear to me what my needs are. I have physical needs, obviously, and for the good 30 years of my life, I've been focusing on my physical needs as good as I can. Now, many of you know that The approach is not about being perfect, but 80-20. So you try your best, and it's okay to allow yourself indulges, indulge in things, if indulgements, if you know how to counteract that. I love pets. I have lots of animals around me. I love plants. I have a lot of plants around me. I love kids. I get a lot of kids around me. And I love my husband, obviously, and I love my home. And these are my values. Those are needs. All of that is part of my needs. There's always improvements, obviously. There are wants, there are preferences and desirables about that. Yeah, I would like to have this or this or this at my house, and I can't afford those right now, or I would like to move into a different area, or I've spent quite a bit here in the last 20 years to find the right place for me, be it due to climate, due to light conditions, temperature, and so forth. Yeah, to understand that this is a fundamental need. But there are preferences as well, and there's a lot of things that I prefer over other things. I've lived in many different countries in the world, many different climate zones, and I have formed very clear preferences through that experience. If you have never lived anywhere, you will have a restriction in your head as to what you could even, what could be different, yeah, or even, the ability to think outside the box, because you think you have to be at the place that you're at. That is not always true. It's the same with relationships. If we are in an unhappy relationship, we might have difficulties to think outside the box, because we're so focused on trying to cope with what we have that we forget that we're the director and the scriptwriter and the main actor of our own sort of life's movie, right? So there are some things that we can change, all right? But sometimes it's not so clear for us. How would you like to address that with higher power? What do you think at the core of what we're contemplating here? What's needed at the core of that? Instead of focusing on all the things that you don't have and all the things that you don't want, to become able to better identify what it is that you do need, what it is that you do want, and what it is that you do want to go for, work to it to. I can start out with the clarity, because I think this is the main component of this. I pray for the clarity. And now the question is the clarity for what? To restart and align to true needs and goals. Yeah, the clarity, and maybe also the courage, Astrid, is that what you mean? The courage to restart. I like the courage. To restart and alignment is a conscious choice, guys. That's something we can do at any time. You're asking your higher power. Passionate assertiveness, I love that. Let's put passion in there, Raquel. I think that would be a good idea. I pray for the clarity and courage to change. How about that? To change. And see what needs to be changed. So that I can approach life with renewed passion. How about that, guys? This is about the passion of life. Yeah? To actually feel and love life and recognize life as the expression of that. Who says life is hard? Who says life has to be a struggle? Who says that you have to cope with all these adverse things that you're coping with? Well, obviously, when we have physical problems, when we have money problems, we have to deal with them, but it doesn't mean we have to be content with them, right? To acknowledge divinity within me. The prayer itself is an acknowledgement of divinity in me. It's not spelled out, but we are praying in the name of grace. Yeah, we are aligning ourselves to grace. We are surrendering to grace by basically committing our life, our body, mind, and spirit, heart, and soul, and all our error perceptions to it. Our will, we're basically acknowledging that the will of grace is acting through me. Okay, that's the devotion. Yeah, it's a prayer in the name of grace, but it also links back to ourselves in that we are asking for healing. We're asking for that to be mended that is fragmented. And the active part in that is when we ask for it to be revealed. Yeah, reveal all needs to be that need to be revealed. Yeah, so that everything that needs to be healed can be healed. That's our part in there. Are you guys okay with what we have? I pray for the clarity and courage to change and see what needs to be changed so that I can approach with life with renewed passion. Does this work for you? Do you want to inject anything else into this? Energize what helps me grow. I like that. To pray for the clarity. To only energize what helps me grow. And the courage to change what needs to be changed so that I can approach life with. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the formatting. I promise I will create a new form here so it becomes a little more visual. I pray for the clarity to only energize what helps me grow and the courage to change what needs to be changed so that I can approach life with renewed passion. Does that sound good? Yeah. We're basically asking for renewal. And renewal is an extremely powerful energy. Yeah, this is something that when we're in the midst of a crisis, often cannot generate within ourselves. We have to ask higher power for it. No matter how we understand higher power. Yeah. For you, maybe higher power is nature or the divine or source. It doesn't matter. It's the higher aspect in us that we are addressing. But words are important, and we have to be clear about the devotion aspect here. Yeah, what we are praying to. So we have to know how we understand higher power. Okay. If you're asking your ego, yeah, for the clarity and courage, yeah, you get a different answer. You guys get me here? I just felt compelled to add that to the equation. Okay, so you got to understand when you're asking grace, yeah, higher power as you understand it. You're not asking your ego. You are asking that part in you that is already aligned to growth, that is already aligned to healing. Okay? All right, guys, so after a bumpy start, then let's move into the prayer part here. I'm turning on the music for us and guide you through a very, very brief grounding, centering, and breathing exercise, yeah, to prepare our body for the prayer. Maybe close your eyes a bit. Feel the sole of your feet touching the ground. Yeah, touch base with the ground so that you know you're here. Touch your skin if you can. Yeah, your limbs. Tell yourself that you're here. Yeah, and if you know how to do this, then direct your energies directly into the ground. Yeah, like basically forming roots deep into the ground. Take a deep breath in. Expand your ability to hold your breath. Yeah, expand your rib cage, expand your diaphragm. Hold it there for a moment and then consciously release the energy that is no longer needed. If you want to look at your breath as energy, let's do this again. Breathe in. Many of you know this breathing technique, very, very simple breathing technique. Yoga, mindfulness, okay? It's extremely effective. And now look at the palms of your hand as the extension of the pro and con, the good and bad, the left and right, the giving and receiving, the masculine and feminine, the light and the dark in you. And consciously unite them. Rub the palms of your hand against another and speed up the energy between them. Feel how there is this higher vibratory energy that you are creating due to your attention right now. And use this warmth to clear all excess tension in you. Take another deep breath, close your eyes if they aren't already closed. And let me move into the prayer now. You can fold your hands in whichever way, one supporting the other, one perfectly aligned to another, one intertwined. Doesn't matter. Grace. For thee I thirst. Into your hands I commit my life, my body, mind, and spirit, heart and soul, and all error perceptions thereof. Thy will is my will, thy will be done through me. I pray for the clarity to only energize what helps me grow, and the courage to change what needs to be changed so that I can approach life with renewed passion. Heal me at depth. Reveal all that needs to be revealed and heal all that needs to be healed, that needs to be mended, so that I can glorify you, God, I am, so that I can be thankful for life and live in the consciousness of grace, now at all times. Thank you. This was very interesting. You could hear this. I stumbled a few times here. There was a very, very important ingredient missing. And I just added that at the very end. It's the thankfulness for life. The appreciation of life itself, guys. Very, very powerful, and something that I can recommend you guys praying for. Yeah, this isn't about feeling guilty or, you should be grateful that you're alive. It isn't about that. It's about understanding that life in itself is a very, very powerful energy. And for us to experience this here right now in this physical form, is, I want to call this a gift. Yeah, if you can see beyond all the parts in your life that are going wrong, where you're not acting according to what makes you grow, where you're not focusing on what you can change, where you are not really in the passion for life, but in the misery of life. So here in these last days of November, guys, before I move on to December energies here very quickly, it's very important that we recognize that a new perspective does not always mean that we have to change ourselves. We have to change the way we look at things. And for that, you're going to have to know how to question your perception, because it is the perception, the error perception, that we just surrendered to our higher power, that makes it impossible for us to see. That creates all these struggles in life. So use these last days here in November to really focus on your needs, your wants, and your goals from a renewed perspective that allows you to manifest the kind of life that you came here to experience. Yeah, there's a piece in there that has to do with thankfulness. So for those of you in the United States, happy Thanksgiving Friday. And for everybody else, we're moving on to the energy update now for week 49. And if you have been, if you have joined the or listened to the forecast for November, I've already mentioned this there. December is going to be a bit rocky. So let me start over again here now and address the aspects that are coming in already for these first December days. Welcome everybody to our energy update and energy tips for week 49. That is the 27th of November till the 3rd of December 2021. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm airing from Florida, my healing tent here. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and energy therapist. And for my loyal audience here that is mostly composed of energetically sensitives and empaths from all over the world, I am offering this as a weekly service and also monthly service in form of forecasts, energy reports, and direct energy tips. These last days here in November, we just mentioned this in the energy prayer session right before the energy tips. It's about resetting our perspective. It's about really looking at life as something that is here for us and not the other way around. Yeah, focusing on our needs, on the fundamental needs that we have to sustain our own energy, to become independent energetically, so that we don't need other people or substances or certain circumstances. Our wants, our desirables, our preferences, how we would like to have it. And of course, this is a big, big part for all of us right now in these times, a vision, an ideal, a goal that we can work to. And I can tell you out of my own practice here what the biggest problem for most people is. We have been conditioned to seeing the world and our life in it from a fear-based perspective that has focused all our energy around survival and how to cope better with adverse circumstances. And this is something that really needs to shift now. So this, in these last days of November, you will feel an impulse, very strong impulse, to do some inner work. There'll be a lot of fears that will be triggered here in these last days, latest on December 1st, okay, when our whole entire collective goes into this. This is already, we're already being primed for this, into this fear of a new COVID variant, and a fear of the pandemic not being able to be stopped through the vaccine. So it's basically this truth hitting everybody now, that the vaccines aren't really doing what they promised to do. All right, and I hate to say it, but in Europe, you guys will see this in a couple of days. Lockdowns, and perhaps even lockdowns in a way that you haven't had before. So there are really waves of more restrictions of our freedom coming in, which is why you guys really need to amp up your own clarity about what you need, what you want, and what you are living for. Where this is supposed to go for you. And when fears get triggered, guys, our brain literally isn't able to go there anymore. Okay, this isn't because you're dumb or you're not seeing it. It's because your neurotransmitters and your nervous system are incapable of thinking and feeling and basically envisioning yourself beyond. Okay, you get so fixated on your fear, that you cannot really identify what your needs are, what your wants are, and what your goals in life are, because all you're focused on is how to survive, how to get through to the next day. And especially here during the holidays, which will continue not just in Europe, also for other countries, the restrictions hit us very hard, because for most of us, this is the time of the year where we want to socialize with our loved ones. So we will feel the restrictions more and more in our daily life. And guys, apart from what you thought that you've gone through already, it's not the virus itself that is creating that. It's the media and the collective fear around it that affects you. So whether or not it's true what is being perpetrated there or portrayed, the way it will feel inside of you, just due to the fact that you have a nervous system, due to the fact that you have a confusion about what works, what doesn't work, what needs to be done, what's the best way to move forward and so forth, makes it difficult for you to see that. And this is something that I've reported about quite substantially. Actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, there are hours and hours of workshops on how to identify mind control, and etheric control, etheric abuse. These are things that we teach here at transCODES. It's not a mystery, guys. This isn't mysterious. This is very, very simple. Anybody who knows the human nature, who studied the human nature, understand this. So you have to find the right balance between making decisions in your life, making changes in your life that produce more safety, because you're going to have an elevated need for safety. And that it becomes a new need, that you don't have to ruminate about. You just have to see it and ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe? Okay, and then do it. You will have an elevated need for, social, emotional exchange, connection with others, and you'll have a need to align to something that allows you to get past your own limitations. So what I'm basically saying here is that this next week brings in a massive shift in or can bring in a massive shift in our way of thinking. We have to understand that it is against our nature, to check out. This is not what we are designed to. It is against our nature to isolate. It is against our nature to not be able to feel safe in our environment. Even if you think all the way back to Neanderthal times, all right, the first need that had to be fulfilled for the family or the tribe or whatever is to feel safe. Then obviously that's the shelter, then obviously the food and clothing and all that. And then you would start tending to the things that bring the desires, that bring in the preferences. And right here, most of you cannot think clearly anymore. There's a mental laziness that has sort of gotten a hold in us here over the last year and a half through all this mind control, that has not really exercised that muscle to look beyond, okay? Look beyond just survival, and look at what has changed in the last year and a half. There's a lot of things that have changed in my life here, even though I still live in Florida, but I have moved in the time because I didn't feel safe where I was before. And feeling safe is a subjective experience, all right? You have to all answer this for yourself. And I needed a different sort of setting for my pets and my kids and so forth that is helping them to grow, all right? That is more conducive for them, because everything that's conducive for my kids, for my pets, for my family is conducive for me. For me, that is simple because I have been training this within myself for over 20 years. But most of us have gotten into a bit of a mental laziness and even a spiritual laziness. And instead of actually looking at what our true needs are, we looked at ideals only. And you have to be careful here, because this is what's being used by marketing, by media, by propaganda against you. Okay, you're being focused on your ideals only or on your fears only, and that does not allow you to recognize your true needs. Okay, so there's a huge sort of cognitive dissonance created in you, and that will make you doubt yourself here in this next week. So this is not to be underestimated. That's why I have a bit of a serious tone here to that, because when your self-doubts are triggered, guys, it usually also triggers some of the inner child stuff, some of your trauma stuff, all right? And this whole next month is all about recognizing, acknowledging trauma and understanding the purpose of it, understanding how our trauma actually leads us to growth, all right? And what we need to do to overcome it. Not to forget it, not to repress it, but to overcome it. So it's a week, a month, I want to say, of very intense inner work that is needed. Partially because of these renewed restrictions that I have talked about. So it's something that I've already predicted here in the November forecast coming in clearly now. We will see more lockdowns again, and this will be a different Christmas, guys, for all of us. All right. We will see, especially in this week, probably even this weekend, even more protests than we have already seen. By the way, if you are interested in unbiased media, you can always go to my forum. It's free for everyone, where I collect studies and articles, non-biased articles that produce a slightly different picture, that help us to pierce through some of this overlay. The political truths of our situation are becoming more and more visible for all of us now, okay? And what this will trigger in you is the need to become, well, basically able to rely on yourself, and that's why your self-doubt will be triggered, okay? That's why you will go into a different kind of fear now that is beyond just, like sort of experiencing the trauma of what is going on around you, but a trauma that is older, that really that comes from either your childhood or even epigenetically, something that you've experienced in a past life, or that has been handed down from several generations through your ancestors. So you're going to really have to go into this who am I part now. This is the time, guys. Do not refuse that call. It is the time to do that, because once the restrictions hit you, you will not have the freedom to do that anymore. You will be wrapped up in that so much that it will be hard for you to bring up this mental discipline that we talked about here on Wednesday and last week, okay? Like how to question your perception and not yourself. The difference between doing and being is something that most people have difficulties with. And in December, I'll probably talk a lot about that, because December is all about finding our true identity, guys. And when the rubber meets the road, or the push, whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not good with these idioms, these proverbs in English. Yeah, when it gets rough, okay, that's when we need to know who we are. We are not what we do. We are what we are, guys. And that is another kind of exercise here that I will probably guide you through. Obviously, within the transCODES community, in these energy sessions and workshops that I do, but also here on YouTube. Yeah, it's all about becoming independent and understanding that your identity is not what you're being told from the outside. So seeing yourself from within yourself. This is an inside job. So this intense inner work here that is coming up for us, that call needs to be answered, guys. Yes, I am an energy coach. Yes, of course, I see it through that lens, but I cannot stress that enough. There's a reason why so many of you have been drawn to this inner work. This, in my contextualization, was all just preparation for what is coming now. So you got to understand that this inner work isn't about, how to become rich overnight, or how to get laid, or how to, create all these desires and pleasures in your life and avoid pain. This isn't about how to cope better with stuff. No, this is about you really professing you to yourself. You have to proclaim who you are to get through this time. Good news is, we're going to get some really cool new energy coming in by the end of December. Okay, so January will develop a bit more positive picture, and it will be much more hopeful. But as for the next 4 to 6 weeks, guys, 4 to 6, 7 weeks, we're going to have to buckle up. And the best way to do that is to actually know who you are. Because if you have to go within to resolve the problems, you better have a clarity there about who you are. Yeah, this is very, very important. Do not go into this, I called it mental laziness earlier, where you just check out. You cannot afford this. Yeah. What is my power? What is in my power to change? What is safe for me? Yeah. And how do I want life to be? How can I come to a new understanding of life? Yeah, that is growth oriented, that is life promoting, as I call it. Yeah. This is the beginning of the new paradigm of being. Yeah. On Saturday we have a very powerful solar eclipse and new moon. I'll probably talk about that here on Wednesday next week, because I'm expecting a lot of different things to happen. So 4th of December is really the pinnacle of this new energy coming in. And then the solar eclipse, the winter solstice, sorry guys, on the 21st is going to bring in even more of that clarity. So yes, guys, buckle up, all right? Don't see this as a doomsaying, okay? This is helping you to prepare what to focus on, all right? Don't get pulled into this Black Friday consumerism sale thing. This is all distraction, guys. This is all just pleasure buying in order to better check out. Only focus on what you truly need. Only focus on what helps you to connect with yourself and others, what makes you feel safe. All right, guys? But this is just my view and my energy tip here for this next week. If you feel this differently or if you feel the same way, please share it with us here in the comments. This is not a criticism, but I have a little bit of a problem with barely any commentary here, yeah, or likes on my YouTube videos. There's like over 1,000 people watching my videos every week, yeah, and one comment or 5 likes. All right, so guys, yeah, let other people know that this resonates with you. This isn't about what they think. I mean, when you push the like button, nobody sees who that does, but it is something, that also shows, yeah, that we are all in this together. All right. I know it's complex, and if you want to know more, I'm doing the energy tune-up session on Sunday. That is a in-depth clearing and personal reading for December energies for your life. I am diving into this right now, what these December energies are bringing for us, and tomorrow we have the forecast, the forecast discussion here among the Sacred Self-Healing community, and then one more time on December 6th, I start the high energy transformation. That is for people who are serious, who need a daily energy boost. This is very woo, but it is something to consider for those of you who are so close to breaking through things. Yeah, daily doses for 2 weeks can really, really make a difference there. Okay, other than that, I see you very, very soon, and I'm wishing you a good week, okay? And focus on what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel grow. Do not check out, guys. All right? Love you. See you soon. Bye-bye.